Hi there, welcome to Yoga with Rachel, and also welcome to day 7, our final day of our yoga challenge. So today's class is a mobility practice that is designed to help us move better and to feel our very best. So without further ado, let's get this party started. Join me on the ground, finding a cross-legged seat. And right away, find length throughout your back body as you place your hands on your thighs. Let's drop the chin towards the chest, feeling a beautiful stretch through the back of the neck. And now begin to roll your chin over towards the left shoulder and then back through center, taking it over towards the right side and then back through center. So just drawing some semicircles with the neck, the nose, connecting to your breath. And then the next time that you're over your left shoulder, drop the left ear towards the left shoulder, and then place your left hand gently on the side of your head as you release your right fingertips down to the ground beside your right hip. Feel free to walk those right fingertips a little bit further away from your body to experience a deeper stretch. Breathe here. Okay, release that stretch, rolling the chin through center and then dropping now the right ear towards the right shoulder and then placing your right hand on the side of your head and then releasing your left fingertips to the ground. Breathe into the side of your neck and into your shoulder. Breathe in here and then breathe on out to release the stretch. And now draw the shoulders up towards the ears, draw the shoulders back in space, and then melt your shoulder blades down the back body to create space. Twice more, shoulders up towards the ears, back, and then down. Up, back, and then down. Awesome. Send your arms from left to right and then draw your hands back in space to really open on up through the heart, spread through your fingers. Take a breath in here and then on your breath out, give yourself a hug, right arm over top of the left. Breathe in to open on up. Breathe out to give yourself another hug. Left arm over top this time. Breathe in to open on up, look on up towards the sky. And then breathe on out, giving yourself another loving hug, dropping the chin closer towards the chest. Breathe in, open up, look up. And then breathe on out, another hug, dropping the chin towards the chest. And then release that. Place your hands on your thighs with your palms facing towards the sky. Fingers are nice and soft. And now I invite you to find a gentle sway from side to side. Connecting to your breath as you move. Perhaps you close your eyes here and then just visualize the movement of water, like that fluid, beautiful movement. And if you would like, you can release your right fingertips to the ground, reaching left hand up and overhead, side body stretch, to then take it over to the other side. So moving between right and left side, not worrying about how this may look, but just focusing in on the sensations. We're just warming up the body in a really gentle and mindful way today. All right, I invite you to come back to center and just take a moment to notice how you feel. All right, we are going to make our way to one end of the mat, so one short edge of the mat. So come on there now. So your body should be facing towards the other short edge of your mat. Place your hands on the earth just to start. Place the soles of your feet on the mat. Your knees are pointing upwards. And then walk the feet wider than hip distance apart. Now bring your hands out in front and then interlace your fingers right by your heart space. All right. Stay lifted in your heart, lengthen through the back body. And now melt your knees over towards the right side, lifting the soles of your feet away from the ground. And it's all good if the knees are up here. The knees do not have to connect with the ground. And then coming back through center to take it over to the left side. Back through center, taking it to the right. And yes, you may notice that we're moving. We want that to happen. We want to make our way to the other short edge of the mat. So back through center and then to the left, little internal and external rotation. And then to the right. So stay lifted in your heart as you move. Left, right, left, and then right, and then left, and then right. And then once you have reached the other end of the mat, send your legs out long, out in front. Your feet are roughly hip distance apart, and we are still maintaining that gorgeous length through the back body. All right, here comes the fun part. Without using our hands, we are going to try to make our way back to the other end of the mat. Yes. So feel free to watch me if you would like a little demonstration, and then you can give it a try. All right. Woohoo! And then once you get there, you can congratulate yourself and then bend at the knees. Breathe in, both hands high into the sky. Breathe on out to fold forward, belly on your thighs, and then release your hands to the soles of your feet, ankles, or shins. Bow your head. You can find a gentle sway here from side to side in the seated forward fold. Breathe in through your nose. And then as you breathe out, begin to straighten through your legs and then point through your toes. And then very, very slowly roll on up through your spine. Crown of your head reaches towards the sky. And now you can flex through your feet so that way your toes are pointing upwards. All right, cross out your ankles. And now let's make our way to all fours. Wrists are stacked underneath the shoulders, and then bring the big toes together, knees about as wide as your yoga mat. All right, send the hips back towards the heels, walk the hands forward a little bit more, take a breath in here, and then as you breathe out, melt your heart space towards the ground, forehead releases to the earth. On your next breath in, press into all that is touching the earth, lift your head away, and then come forward, cow stretch. So we're dropping the belly, open on up through the heart and the throat. As you breathe out, tuck the tailbone under, round through the spine, bow your head, and then send it on back, extended child's pose. Breathe in, coming forward, finding a very generous bend in your elbows as you move. And then breathe on out, rounding through just like in cat stretch before sending your sit bones back towards your heels. So now that you've seen this and you've experienced it, I invite you to take it away and permission to break free from the form. And what I mean by this is, you can explore bumping the hips from side to side. You can find some movement with the head and the neck. You can hold and stay in a posture for a longer period of time if that is what the body is craving. And while you do this, just a kind reminder to connect to your breath. Move with your breath. There's so much power in it. And then wherever you are, let's just make our way back to extended child's pose. Take a breath cycle here. All right, let's all rise on up. Walk your hands or your wrists so that way they are underneath your shoulders. And then just check in with your lower body. Maybe even reset in a tabletop position, as you may have moved a little bit on your mat. So then bring the big toes together and then knees about as wide as the yoga mat. Wonderful. Place your right fingertips on your right shoulder and then direct your right elbow towards the sky. So that way your chest, not your chase, that doesn't make sense. Your chest is facing forward. Breathe in here. And then breathe on out to rotate at the torso and then bring your right elbow towards your left arm. Breathe in to open up, right elbow to the sky. And then breathe on out, right elbow towards left arm. One more time. Breathe in. Breathe out. All right, release your right palm down to the ground. Left fingertips to your left your left shoulder, and then draw the elbow on up towards the sky. You can look on up towards the sky as well. Breathe in. Breathe on out to rotate, and then bring the left elbow in. Breathe in, left elbow high into the sky. Breathe on out. One more round. Wonderful. Release your left palm down to the ground. And now walk the knees so that way they are underneath your hips and your shins are about parallel to one another. Press into the tops of your feet and then press out of your foundation. Rock the pelvis forward, belly button hugs in. All right. So lift your right knee away from the ground. So right here, you may have noticed that more weight went over towards the left side. So maybe just press a little bit more weight into that right hand, so into the fingertips and the knuckle, and then begin to draw some slow circles with that right knee. Keep your breath flowing. Look down at the ground. That way we're not crunching through the back of the neck. We are still maintaining that beautiful line of energy from tail to crown. Reverse that circle. So we're trying to keep the low back as still as possible as we move. So even if that means that your circles are small or slow, it's all good. We want to isolate the movement in the hip. Release your right knee down to the ground. Left knee lifts away from the ground. And then begin to draw those beautiful circles. Reverse your circle. Wonderful. Release your left knee down to the ground. Step your right toes back. Breathe in here. And then breathe on out to hug your right knee in towards your chest. Round through your spine, nose towards your knee before stepping the right foot through. Walk your left knee back in space, deepening the stretch. Take a breath in here. And then breathe on out. As you breathe in, send your hands high into the sky. Press out of your foundation. And then as you breathe out, bring your hands together. So we're going to interlace the fingers and then bring the hands down so that way it's like about in line with the belly area. And then the elbows go from left to right. All right, strong in the feet here. Strong foundation as we twist the upper body to the right. And then back through center to take it over to the left. Back through center and then to the right. And then to the left. So I invite you to take it away. And you may find that this is testing your balance. So take it slow, move with the breath. Use what we've learned throughout our journey, especially in day number 6, where we were focusing in on balance. Day number 1, where we were focusing in on building a strong foundation. And also day 4, strong core. All right. Eventually, we come back to center. Release that bind and then your hands to the ground. And then let's reset back in a tabletop position. Send the left foot back. Take a breath in here. And then breathe on out to hug the left knee in, round through. And then step the left foot through. On your next breath in, send the hands high into the sky. And then breathe on out to bring the hands together, interlace the fingers, and then bring the hands down to belly level. So once again, we are going to do those trunk rotations. So twisting to the left, and then moving to the right. Left, and right. So I invite you to take this action away. If you feel like you need to move one foot over towards, like the left foot over towards the left edge of the mat, feel free to do so. This can help cultivate a little bit more balance as we move. And then eventually we come back to center, lower your hands down to the ground, and then step it back so that way we reset. Oh my goodness, I'm getting super excited today. In a tabletop position. Okay, stacking the wrists so that way they're underneath the shoulders, curl your toes under, and then lift your kneecaps away from the ground. We find a hovering table. Breathe in here, and then breathe on out to send your hips to the sky, downward facing dog. Melt the heels closer towards the ground. Take a breath in here, and then as you breathe out, begin to bend at your knees, finding your hovering table once again. Breathe in, breathe on out, hips to the sky, downward facing dog. Breathe in, breathe on out, shifting forward, finding your hovering table. Breathe in, breathe on out, downward facing dog. Breathe in, breathe out, coming up onto the tiptoes, shifting forward, hovering table. Breathe in, and then breathe on out to lower your knees down to the earth. Great work. Let's take a little bit of a break. Coming up off of the wrists so that way we can come to zombie arms. So sending the hands out in front and then pointing the fingers down. Loop your shoulders, create some space, and reconnect with your beautiful breath. Okay, let's make our way to all fours once again. Tabletop position. Step your right foot back, followed by your left foot, high plank, press away from the mat. Shoulder blades going from left to right, you got this. Now begin to walk your hands towards your feet. So we're bending at the knees, and then eventually the heels rest on the ground, and then we meet in a standing forward fold. Allow the head to grow heavy here, same with your neck. Maybe you shake your head yes, and then no. And then on your next breath in, slowly begin to roll up through your spine. So really taking your time with this one. Crown of your head reaches up towards the sky. On your next breath in, send both hands up and overhead. And then as you breathe out, lead with your heart. We're going to fold forward once again. Plant your palms on the mat and then walk it out to a high plank pose. Wrists are underneath the shoulders. Brace your core. Take a breath in here and then breathe on out to walk it on back. We're going to meet together in a standing forward fold, knees bent. On your next breath in, very, very slowly roll on up through the spine. And then on your next breath in, both hands high into the sky, look on up. And then maybe this time you bow your head, round through the upper back, mid back, and then eventually the low back as we fold forward. Plant your palms on the mat and then walk it on back to a high plank pose. You can lower your knees down here if you wish. Take a breath in here. And then as you breathe out, shift forward, bend at the elbows, and then lower on down to the belly. Great work. Untuck your toes here. Fix your hair like what I'm doing. I'm just joking. Untuck your toes, pressing into the tops of your feet. Rock your pelvis forward. Release your forehead to the mat. And then send your arms from left to right. So each wrist is in line with a shoulder. Make fists with your hands and then point your thumbs towards the sky. So you're giving me 2 thumbs up. All right, take a breath in here. And then as you breathe out, lift your hands away from the ground. So we're bringing the thumbs closer towards the sky and the shoulder blades closer towards one another. No worries about how high you lift your hands away from the ground. Just go to a point where it feels good. Breathe in. Breathe on out to release. Breathe in. Breathe out to lift. Breathe in. Breathe on out to lower. One more round. Breathe in. Breathe out to lift. Breathe in. Breathe on out to lower. Great. Bring your hands in and then stack your hands on top of one another, creating a little hand pillow. Send your elbows from left to right and then release your head to your stacked hands. Bend at both knees and then allow the feet to sway from side to side, massaging the quads. Use this time to reconnect with your breath. All right, release your feet back down to the earth. Lift your head away from your stacked hands. Place your hands so that way they are in line with the rib cage, elbows hugging in. Tuck the toes under. Lift your kneecaps away from the ground. Take a breath in here. And then breathe on out to press on up to a high plank. Breathe in. Breathe out, downward facing dog. Permission to pedal out the feet here. You can get some movement with the neck as well. Looking under one arm at a time. Great. Find stillness. Breathe in through your nose. Breathe out through your mouth. Lovely. Step your right foot behind your right wrist and then left foot behind the left wrist. We meet in a standing forward fold. Check in with your footing here. Just notice where most of the weight is being placed. Respond, make any adjustments. And then on your next breath in, send both hands high into the sky, reaching, standing tall. And then breathe on out to float your hands down to your hips. All right, and draw the elbows back in space slightly just to lift on up through the heart. And now let's test our balance, our foundation by lifting the heels away, coming up onto the tiptoes, holding on to a focal point out in front, toning those calf muscles. And now releasing the heels back down to the ground, putting a little bit more weight back there as we lift the toes away from the earth. All right, breathing into rock forward, coming up onto the tiptoes. And then breathing on out to release the heels, lift your toes. One more round, breathe in. Breathe out. And now place your full foot down onto the ground, including the toes. checking in with your base, checking in with your alignment, just noticing maybe where the pelvis is in space. Can you rock that pelvis forward, lengthening the tailbone down? Roll your shoulders forward, up and back, creating a gentle lift in the heart. And of course, tucking in that chin slightly, length through the back of the neck. Okay, friends, so we are going to do one more balancing posture, and this will be our final one of our entire challenge. So give it a go, have some fun. So again, you can make use of out of a wall, you can use a chair, a couch, whatever you need. You do you, friend. All right, we're going to shift more weight over towards the left side. So feeling that foot to earth connection, bending into that left knee, just a slight bend. As you lift your right foot away from the ground, bring your knees so that way it's about in line with your hip, and then level out the hips. So really pressing out of that standing leg. Bring your hands to heart in prayer position. Breathe in. Breathe on out to begin to send the right toes back as your heart moves forward. Feel free to place the right toes down on the ground, or you can continue that journey. Right foot reaches back, torso is about parallel to the ground. Tuck in your chin slightly. Breathe in. Breathe on out to bring the right knee back in, hug it in. Breathe in here. Breathe on out to send it on back. Hinging forward at that left hip. Breathe in. Breathe on out to hug it back in and squeeze. Now release your right foot down to the ground and we will check it out on the other side. So pressing on into that right foot, lift the left foot away from the ground. Strong footing here, bend into that right knee. Take a breath in. And then breathe on out to begin to send the left foot back in space, hinging forward at the hip, leading with your heart. Moving nice and slow, extending through that back leg so the sole of your foot is reaching back. Breathe in. Breathe on out to hug it in and squeeze. Take a breath in here and then breathe out to send it back. Maybe this time you dial the toes down towards the ground, leveling out the hips. Breathe in, breathe out, bring it back in. Wonderful. Lower your left foot down to the ground. Woo! You did it. All right, and even if you fell out, it's all good. Even if you chose the option of just keeping the toes on the ground, that's cool too. It's all a part of the process and the journey. All right, friends, place your feet so that way they are underneath your hips. Find a small bend in your knees. On your next breath in, both hands high into the sky, look up. Breathe out to clap your hands together and then bring your hands to your heart. Breathe in. Breathe out to bow your head. So to conclude our practice, I invite you to reflect upon your journey throughout this entire challenge. Perhaps considering what you enjoyed the most, whether that was a particular day or a specific posture. Was there anything that you found challenging? Maybe it was rolling out your mat each and every single day for a little bit of movement. As you know, life is busy. I get it. I have to admit, day 6 was a bit of a challenge for me. I had a bit of a sinus infection, but I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go with the flow and see what happens. Maybe had a slight fever too, but it's all good. I'm okay now. And then maybe just consider what you have learned about yoga, what you've learned about yourself throughout your time spent on the mat. There's no right or wrong. Just consider your answer is completely unique to you. Let's breathe in some gratitude into our hearts. And then breathe out gratitude to all those around us, all over the world. An invitation to close our practice together by saying Namaste. Thank you so very much for joining me on this challenge. It was so much fun putting it together, so I really hope that you enjoyed it. If you are looking for some more movement throughout this entire month or throughout the year, I have 4 other challenges that you can choose from. 3 of them are 7-day challenges, and the one is a 10-day yoga challenge. So feel free to look through those. I will link them down below in the comments or in the description area. So once again, thank you so very much. I appreciate you, and you can give yourself a pat on the back for a job well done, because you totally deserve it. Take care, and bye for now.